Salvete omnes, this is Amelia, also known as TheMartianGeek. Guess what time it is? It's time for another announcement video. I had actually planned on doing this one earlier, but I also wasn't entirely sure if I was doing it at all. I figured I might as well talk about future plans and what I've been up to, and I'll start with the former so that people who are only interested in the news part can skip the rest. So, obviously I still have the extras for Trails in the Sky to do. In addition to showing some fairer fights with some of the bosses that I just used Chaos Brand on the first time around, I'd also like to show the full text of the books in the game, how to get all the recipes, and what all the different crafts and magic look like. For new projects, on the other hand, well, I actually have a pretty decent idea of what I want my next 3 Let's Plays to be, though I'm not positive on the order. I'll probably play Mega Man 10 pretty soon. After Trails in the Sky, I could use a game that tests my skill but is quick to get through. I'd also like to do Crash Bandicoot 4, and I don't mean the new one, but the original Crash 4 that came out on the 6th gen consoles. I'm talking about Wrath of Cortex. I've been kind of feeling like playing some Crash Bandicoot ever since playing the other Crash 4 and finding it incredibly irritating. Admittedly, a lot of that is only when trying to go for completion instead of just playing through, but ARG! I don't know what Toys for Bob were smoking, but they do not know how to design good levels or make good use of the player's time, no matter how cool the concepts they were given to work with are. It didn't help that this also wasn't too far from coming off Bravely Default 2, which was also more annoying than it had a right to be, and somehow I managed to finish that game, probably because as much as it likes to screw with you, it's also very easy to break, whereas I only got halfway through It's About Time before shelving it. Like I said on my blog, if I had a nickel for every video game I got in 2021 that was on the Switch, was a new entry in a series that I'd previously enjoyed, and should have been great, but due to poor design choices ultimately ended up being more annoying than fun, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? Anyway, Wrath of Cortex may not be the best game in the series, but it's a lot more reasonable than Crash 4 the newer. And speaking of new things, the third game I had in mind is New Super Mario Bros. Wii. It's a good game that I'd like to play again. I have a more recent version of Dolphin that emulates it a lot better now, so I don't have to mess about with setting up my capture card again, and I'd say that that game hits a good spot where I'm pretty familiar with it, but haven't played it frequently or recently enough to know it by heart. So, some solid games that should be reasonably entertaining, but nothing unique or novel. Honestly, I need to find more good indie games. Also, I'm not actually sure when I'll have a good opportunity to record more. My family is all home for the summer, making it harder to get privacy, and it's been smoky lately, which has not been kind to my throat, so I don't know if I could get through a full episode of commentary. Seriously, I think I finished the main game of Trails in the Sky just barely in time. Hopefully the air will clear up in September, but sooner than that would be great. Beyond all that, well, I've still been plugging away at Trails of Cold Steel 4 off and on, as well as Roller Coaster Tycoon. I only have 15 scenarios left in the latter, and then I'll have completed all of them except the extras. The problem with those particular 2 games being in progress is that they both require a large time commitment, so they're not the best things for if I just want some quick entertainment. It's not like I don't have a backlog that I could be playing, certainly. People have said that Celeste is pretty good, despite some of the extra levels being pretty much Kaizo, so I may try that. I never actually finished Yooka-Laylee in the Impossible Lair. I never started playing Mischief Makers either, but that one might be a bit of a problem. You see, I've been using an RCA to HDMI adapter to make it easier to plug my various consoles in and swap between them, and it recently stopped working for no apparent reason. Fortunately, if I really do want to play something, I can still plug the cables into the component ports and the console will work, except the Nintendo 64. I have no idea why that one won't work that way. If anything, I'd think the NES would have the most trouble, but nope, I can plug a console from the 1980s into a TV from the 2010s with no apparent issues, just not the Nintendo 64. Sure, it's probably my least favorite of the consoles I own, but of course I still ordered a new adapter. It makes things easier anyway. You might also notice that I recently ported one of the boss themes from the second Trails in the Sky. I also did a version of it in the style of Mega Man X3, which is probably even less useful for Super Mario World hacks than the regular unsampled port, but I've thought for a while that it sounded like Mega Man X3 sound font would suit it, so I did it. And of course I've been making and showing off a new Super Mario World hack. As of this video, I am a couple levels into World 5. Still need to decide exactly what I'm doing for the Fortress boss. I also still need to decide if I should make a second channel for non-video game related stuff. I think I am, but the artist I commissioned for the background art is sure taking her sweet time. I say that from a channel that hasn't had background art since its inception in 2009. Well, I think that's all that I had to say this time. I hope that it won't be too long before I can get back into some major projects, but I do still have a couple things in mind that I can potentially put up or work on in the meantime. I just need to get better at prioritizing. So, I'll see you next time.